Now to discuss this, Brad Blakeman, a former deputy assistant to President George W. Bush, and Zerlina Maxwell. She is a Democratic strategist and contributor with Ebony.com. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Brad, I'll start with you. At this point, whatever happens, and it does appear that Chuck Hagel will be confirmed as Secretary of Defense, will this delay and his performance during his confirmation hearing make him a less effective or respected Secretary of Defense?
Well, the process isn't over yet, and the delay is really caused by Hagel himself because additional information was needed, as was solicited in his testimony. The senators have a right to review that material, additional material, and also use that in their judgment whether they'll vote for him or not. But assuming he is confirmed, certainly his performance before the Senate was not of the caliber as anybody would thought for somebody seeking the Department of Defense. It was not where it should have been. I think he knows that. Certainly the White House knows that. Having said that, I think the jury is out. They're going to be looking to see when he is confirmed as to whether he's up for the job. And really the burden is on him to show that he is. But I think there are a lot of people who are going to be sitting back uncomfortably to see whether or not he is going to be able to lead the Department of Defense, not only within his Department of Defense infrastructure, but also with his relationship with the House and the Senate.
With Congress. Zerlina, what do you think? Will he be able to rise above this and rise to the occasion and prove that he's suitable for the job?
I think so. I mean, we're talking about a Vietnam War veteran who had an illustrious career in the Senate for 12 years. And it's very ironic that the very people in the Senate that are using innuendo as a stand-in for serious discussion about foreign policy issues are questioning someone that they served with for 12 years. You would think that they would know him a little bit better than most nominees that come up for that job. And I think it's very important that we get him confirmed, we get him to work, and then Republicans really need to get serious about foreign policy again, because you can't block someone's nomination just because he disagreed and bucked the party line years ago about the Iraq War.
Wait a second.
And now we're at a place where we're filibustering.
That's not really true,
so
Brad.
serious?
No. There are serious considerations that the Senate put before this nominee. He was wrong on the sanctions in Iran. He was wrong on the surge in 2007. The surge was exactly what was needed in Iraq. He's wrong on nuclear proliferation. The fact of the matter is, in a perfect world, it would be great if there were no nuclear weapons. But so far, nuclear weaponry has been the deterrent necessary to have a more peaceful world. And we have proliferation in North Korea and Iran that must be stopped. So when we talk about foreign policy has a direct impact on our Department of Defense, and these are the exact questions we should be soliciting and getting answers to make a decision on whether this guy is right for the job.
And I did want to point this out. This actually is not unprecedented. There are, in fact, 2 other times that a cabinet secretary needed 60 votes, and both of those filibuster nominations were Bush nominees facing Harry Reid's minority Democrats, Interior Secretary and Environmental Protection Agency head. Both had to meet a 60-vote threshold. Now that it has happened to Hagel, it's actually the 3rd time in 10 years, so it's not unprecedented. So, Zerlina, my question to you is, really, why rush it?
Because the Department of Defense is responsible for our military, which is currently in a conflict right now. And I think that, this is something that has to do with national security, and we really need to get serious and get to work here. We can't be talking about things that are not relevant. I mean, they're asking for information about Benghazi, and Chuck Hagel had nothing to do with Benghazi. If you want questions answered about Benghazi, you need to talk to the people that are directly responsible.
But Zerlina, they actually got one of those questions answered, and that was whether or not President Obama himself personally called Libyan officials on the night of September 11th.
But that is not pushback. That is not related to his ability to lead the Department of Defense.
But it took the pushback on Hagel to get a simple answer, which we now know the answer was no. Brad?
Well, you're absolutely right. We had to have some leverage over the White House, and Hagel was used as that leverage, properly so, to get the White House to come clean on what they knew and when they knew it. And let's face it, the Department of Defense, unlike the White House would like us to believe, is not rudderless. Panetta's going to stay there as long as it takes to get his replacement there. So the Department of Defense is being led currently and will be led until such time as his replacement is confirmed. And let me say this, the Constitution is silent on to how long a confirmation process should take. It should take as long as is necessary. End of story, and we're not there yet.
Zerlina, you get the last word.
I think that we really need to get serious about these very important issues. They're asking about Benghazi, but I really want to know. I want to know about Jones. I want to know about the military budget. I want to know about our direction to wind down the war in Afghanistan. These are the questions I want to be asked of Chuck Hagel, and those have really not been asked. They're asking about speeches he may or may not have made, where, you know, they're asking for proof. I mean, this is like a new McCarthy style of interrogation, and we really need to get serious.
Well, speeches he may or may not have made, because he was actually required to give all of that information to begin with, and now apparently it's being discovered that he, in fact, maybe did
I've
not.
ever said in my entire life. So.
Well, let's wait and see.
All right.
Well, maybe we'll have a record of this then.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, a very spirited debate. Meantime,